feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride away.
They claiming there's drones in New Jersey, man. This shit is crazy. Now, let me see if I could.
Tonight, an aerial mystery that's been described as unnerving is growing. The FBI now investigating multiple reports of unidentified drones flying over New Jersey, some as large as a small car. And today, a large drone seen here, also described as the size of a small vehicle, flying over a California event where Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was in attendance.
More drones in the sky. Rockaway, New Jersey.
The New Jersey drones, initially spotted in the northern part of the state, now being reported further south. Sightings also now being reported in New York City. Staten Island Borough President Vito Fossella calling on the FAA and FBI to expand their investigation.
People have seen a number of 15-foot or so wingspan drones hovering around.
Now, that was
in this
6
day
days.
and age, I just don't think that.
All right, that was 6 days ago. They have basically given an update. Here we go.
No one seems to know.
This is an update today.
Cars with a hum loud enough to wake you up if you're sleeping. Now, the White House says there's no evidence of security threats or foreign influence, but that's not satisfying residents and local officials who want an explanation about what is going on. NBC's Sam Brock's been following it all. He's joining us now. Okay, so how is law enforcement responding to this growing demand for answers?
Of course, right? So what we know right now is we have these two very divergent schools of thought. One, Anna, is that you have the mayors and the residents who are saying they're saturating our communities. We can hear them all the time. These are clearly drones. The other is the federal agencies who are saying, nope, we've reviewed this footage. Not that we've created the imagery, but we've reviewed what's out there, and it really looks like manned aircraft. So now you have these four senators coming out and saying, listen, whatever is going on behind the scenes, whatever you know, please reveal it now to put everybody at ease.
The reported drone sightings that have consumed New Jersey.
It's a drone.
Now expanding to Bowie, Maryland, outside of Washington, where a group of 4 senators from New York and New Jersey are demanding a briefing from the FBI, FAA, and Homeland Security as soon as possible on how the agencies are working to identify and address the source of these incursions.
We don't know who is sending them, who's controlling them, whether they are spying.
I've been a little frustrated. There hasn't been enough transparency, letting people know what's happening. It's allowing a lot of...
Man, stop the bullshit. Chat. I think this is obvious, man. I live in Jersey, man. Yo, no disrespectful to people in New Jersey, but there ain't nothing that a goddamn foreign entity need to go spy on niggas in Jersey. We don't got nothing going on over here, okay? I love the state, but we ain't got nothing going on, okay? Listen, this is clearly some type of, Elon finna get in office pretty soon, or what I mean by office, the Department of Government Efficiency or whatever. This is clearly the government doing some shit that they probably have cleared and have the ultimate clearance that says it needs to be classified, so they're not going to tell us shit. Bro, it's definitely not motherfucking China or some dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? Trust me. If it was China or some shit, and this is why, as much as I ain't trying to get political, this is why we need Trump in there. Because Trump got a big mouth. Pause. Trump gonna tell us exactly what's going on. And if it was ever China or some shit like that, that nigga would have bombed them niggas to hell. It's clearly some government, I would think it's surveillance, but it's probably new technology that they're working on, or new surveillance technology that they're working on that, they should tell the U.S. public, but they probably have classified it. It's clearly that's what's going on. They're saying these fucking drones are big like a car. High the fuck up in the sky. I got 3 drones at my crib, right? Like, you buy a drone on Amazon. The DJI drones. Like, them shits is not going up to the level that these drones are going. They're going up to the level where an FAA, like, even my drone, which is it's just a recreational, even though it's a high level drone, the FAA lock the entire drone application you use as a civilian using a civilian drone. You can't even send it that high. You can't even do much with it. You get what I'm saying? Because it's going to make sure you're not sending it up to crash into helicopters and planes. You can't do much. The government clearly is doing some shit. It ain't motherfucking Iran. Them niggas, I don't know what, we got to get out of our own heads. Them broke ass niggas in other places and other countries, they don't want no smoke with us. The only people who keep trying us is China. If it ain't China, it ain't no goddamn Iran or some shit like that. Nigga, they know we will bomb them to hell. They will never fuck with us like that. What it is that our government be having all type of shit. We really are in the era of Big Brother. You should acknowledge that. You have cars that record you when you just walking around. Everything is like this 360 view, and I think this is the government that's probably, like, I think we're getting to the era of, number one, look where we're getting to. I mean, we're getting to the point where people are going to put robotic helpers or maids into their house. Everything now is so... We're getting closer and closer to the future that iRobot essentially predicted. And I think the government is trying to beat us to the punch. They want to put these, maybe, I want to call them drones, that probably hover over the United States and probably just monitor what the fuck is going on. And they're probably just testing it. They're just not going to tell us shit. You know what I mean? So, again, for the people who thinks it's aliens, bruv, the aliens ain't trying to look at nothing in Jersey. There ain't nothing going on in Jersey. The fuck? Like, trust me, if aliens was coming to Earth, they're not like, yo, let's go to New Jersey. Fuck no. You get what I'm saying? If anything, I think we could probably realize is that, hey, maybe there's some hidden special shit going on in New Jersey where the government is setting the shit up. But this is 100% government, government ran. They probably have some type of program. But it also reminds us, no matter what, and this is what fuels conspiracy theorists, is that as much as we think that there's transparency with us and the government, there's always a level of shit going on that you won't hear on the news. You know what I mean? Like, we get explanations for any other bullshit really quickly as soon as the news and the media get into it. For this shit, they don't want to tell us nothing, which means they got something going on. You know what I mean? Like, we're just moving into the future. Now, am I concerned? I think so we're protected by some amendments in terms of, the police or the government intrusively just peeling back the layers or peeking into our lives. But when it comes to, especially after 9/11, and that's why Homeland Security matters, they could pretty much like authorize any type of surveillance program for the benefit of the land under the guise of, yo, we're trying to protect y'all. So as long as we live under that regime, I don't know what to think. You get what I'm saying?
Of potentially misinformation to spread, or at least fear.
At Rose's Luncheonette in Kenville, New Jersey, the drones are the talk of the town.
There's a lot of panic in the area.
The restaurant's owner says he was actually woken up by one.
It sounded like a helicopter. Looked out the window and you saw lights, in the sky, like a green light, red light.
There's a pair of drones right here in front of me.
About a week ago, Mayor Sam Morris in nearby Mine Hill Township investigated reports of 8 drones flying by his government building.
You saw them right over there, right over this tree line.
He says local mayors are demanding answers, too.
This smacks of a lack of control, and that makes people very uncomfortable.
Thursday, the White House downplaying concerns, saying the sightings are not military drones and do not come from a foreign threat. They aren't even sure if they're drones at all.
It appears that many of...
That's cap. They know exactly what it is. And if anything, it just tells us that the government don't tell us a lot. And it's probably for many different reasons. If they tell us the truth, we might start freaking out. And it shows you that there's a level of separation between the information they know and we know. And I used to think that at least now we're in the era of information where it's hard for the government to hide shit from us, but it's clear they could still hide shit from us, right?
Many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
Rob Demi.
That's it?
Military drones and do not come from a foreign threat. They aren't even sure if they're drones at all.
It appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
Rob,
what law is permitting? What law is permitting these motherfuckers to just fly over?
D'Amico is the former head of the FBI's counter-drone unit, who says it can be easy to confuse drones with planes or other aircraft.
So you suspect that a large percentage of these sightings are actually manned aircraft?
I believe probably 90% of them are. And I think the other 10% are drones that are allowed to be flying.
Whatever's swooping around in the skies, locals believe they're not getting the full story.
Do you get the impression the federal government knows way more than what they're revealing to people?
Without a doubt.
All right, so what is going on? The FBI and DHS did come out with a joint statement yesterday. They said they're working with New Jersey State Police. They are also deploying new personnel and technology to investigate whether or not these drones are drones, whether it's manned aircraft or whether there's just oversights here. And Anna, you have Governor Murphy saying that earlier this week there was 50 sightings in a single day, but he said there might be some overlap. Some of it might not be accurate. And the reality also is that folks may be seeing these drones up in New Jersey and flying more drones, which is not to say that these are all planes. The majority of them are planes, but clearly the federal government does think that. But earlier this week, on Wednesday, there was a meeting with hundreds of mayors. And you know who wasn't there? The FBI, to discuss this and put fears at ease. And so this is the situation that we find ourselves in today.
Right, there's still so much uncertainty. We just don't know for certain what's going on. And that's the reason now people are asking those questions. Yeah, Thank you so much. Stay on top of it for us, Sam. All right. And now New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer's joining us. He's a Democrat who serves on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, I know you've been asking questions. You were briefed by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security, your committee was. So do they really have no idea what's going on?
Well, listen, based on what I've seen, and thanks for having me, there's no reason in my mind, based on what they've analyzed, that there's any credible threats to public safety at this time. And that I feel good about based on what the FBI has briefed me on.
Fuck no. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. After, I think our faith in government and even some of these entities like FBI or whatever, we've realized that a lot of bullshit happens even with those entities as well. I don't have faith that... I do have faith that if they're saying something about our safety, so I do think that they're keeping us safe. I don't have faith that they're telling us the truth. So I think whatever they got going on, they ain't gonna tell us the truth. But do I think that we're in danger? No. You get what I'm saying? No.
That said, the hundreds of sightings or more that we've received in New Jersey, the phone calls I've received, the images. Andy Kim, who's a senator now in New Jersey, said that he has seen them himself. He just posted something about that, right? So clearly there's something going on out there. And what's driving me crazy, and I think a lot of my colleagues in the state government and, of course, federally, is that the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, who are chiefly responsible for monitoring and being aware of what's up in the skies, is not giving us a public briefing, giving us enough information, telling us exactly where
Now, see, y'all tell me to check Twitter. There's a lot of misinformation out there, too. There's one that said a drone crash, which apparently... What the fuck? All right, that's cat. All right, that's cat. Let's see. There was one that said a drone crash. What the fuck? Fuck is this? This gotta be from like a movie, man. What the fuck, man? Stop playing, man. Oh, they were saying, look. Now, apparently they were saying this is a drone, but they're like, no, this is actually an aircraft. Now, if you look at it, this looks like it's a really small aircraft, right? Like this don't look like a large aircraft. It looks pretty small. I don't know.
No way! Yo! No way. You got good footage? Good footage? Oh, they bugging! This shit fucking crashed!
Nah, supposedly it's an aircraft, okay? And by the way, I think the FAA confirmed that was an aircraft.
These drones are coming from, who's sending them up, are they all unlicensed and unregistered? What are they? And I think people deserve to know, which is why, of course, when you don't have any information, people get rightly anxious about it and say, what's going on out here? Give me some information. And so I've called on the FBI to immediately, with DHS, brief the country, brief New Jersey what's going on, make public what they know, and of course, ensure that state and local law enforcement have the tools they need from a monitoring perspective. And if necessary, if these drones are going over military bases like they have been reported in New Jersey, or over critical infrastructure like reservoirs or national security sites or other law enforcement sites.
Anyway,
a deepening mystery unfolding in the tri-state area today. People in the New York metropolitan area are now reporting a growing number of drone sightings in their communities. This follows a wave of mysterious appearances in the skies over New Jersey, sparking major concern among residents as well as among local and state leaders. The White House and FBI say there is no evidence to this point that the drones pose a national security threat or have any kind of foreign connection. But that's only adding to the confusion, because so far there are no explanations as to what they even are, where they're coming from, or who might be launching them. For weeks now, the drones have been spotted over homes, critical infrastructure, and sensitive government sites. Today, some frustrated lawmakers have gone from asking questions to demanding answers.
New Jersey can't become the Wild West of drone activity. No state can become the Wild West of drone activity. I've made this very clear to the FBI, to Homeland Security, and the FAA, the agencies chiefly responsible for monitoring drone activity. They must immediately disclose more information to the public. It's totally and completely unacceptable that you have all this drone activity going on that people are seeing with their own eyes. The fact that the federal agencies responsible for briefing the public have not come forward in a clear way is unacceptable. There has to be some explanation to the public for all this increased activity, and they must do so now.
Thus far, the drones have managed to evade radar as well as police helicopters. And moments ago, CNN learned that Connecticut police are tracking reported sightings of drones over Fairfield County. CNN's Polo Sandoval spoke to a leader at a private airspace security company about how investigators are trying to track these drones.
DHS and the FBI saying that thus far they have not been able to corroborate any drone sightings with electronic detection, I should say. So we did some digging into what that actually looks like and how that can actually happen. I had an opportunity to speak to a representative of Dedrone, which is a private airspace security company that basically helps their clients prevent and detect any unauthorized drone flights. That representative telling me that there are at least 4 ways that you can actually detect some of these flights. The first, using radio frequency. You can actually pick up some of that chatter, some of the signals that are sent and dispatched between the drone and the remote control on the ground. There's certainly cameras. A simple surveillance camera often does the trick, though with more advanced cases, more advanced technology is needed. Radar, we all know how that works. And then finally, acoustics. You can quite literally use equipment to listen for some of these drones, though that representative told me that that is becoming less reliable since drone technology has evolved. And oftentimes these drones are much quieter. But overall, these are the kinds of resources that authorities on the ground in New Jersey at the state and local level are asking the federal government to.
One of the reasons I think it's legal is because there's that flashing light that you normally see that's very standard and mandatory and lawful in terms of airplanes that fly at night. If you ever watch an airplane, I watch this one airplane. It gives me actually anxiety sometimes when I get on airplanes. Like, I think eventually I want to get my pilot license. Anyway, different story. I watch this one channel. It's all about flight and all about planes. And so, there's certain regulations for planes flying. Like at night, they actually emit this like blinking light. Then they have to have they have different type of lights that they have to have on, right? And watching that drone, it feels like it's following FAA rules, right? That's FAA rules that if you have a object that is flying above a certain feet, now, number one, it should be detected by radar, but still, it has to have these lights that are, lights that is supposed to alert other things that might be in the air as well. It looks like it's following the law, so it ain't aliens. No niggas think that it's about Independence Day here. It ain't aliens. It's something that we got and something that we know, and we're making this shit. It's clearly government that is following kind of rules that the government made.
Provide. In fact, on Friday, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy.
Jersey, which is one of the communities.
Somebody says the government spying on it's the government spying on the citizens. I think it's them testing it. Why just roll it out in Jersey? Just roll it out everywhere. I think they're testing it.
These were numerous drones have been spotted. Mayor, thanks so much for being with us. We do have some video that you and...
Somebody says when police approach them with their own drones, they turn the lights off and disappear. Well, whatever it is, it's above the security clearance of local law enforcement personnel. And I guarantee it's probably off a federal level. And I guarantee probably only the president and a few other people are briefed with it. And I guarantee that they even if you ask them, say you ask the press secretary about if the government knew anything about it, they would just be like, hey, it's either classified or denied. So I definitely think it's above local municipalities. So yeah, they might do some weird shit, which just shows you, I think that they're fucking with some new technology, man. They're fucking with some new technology.
And the Belleville Police Department obtained that I want to show our viewers. And if we can go ahead and put that up. Here it is. So just tell us about what we're seeing here, where this is, where you've been seeing drones.
Thank you for having me. So that video that you're seeing was actually shot by one of our Belleville police officers, who actually is a licensed drone pilot. So he's got some familiarity with how these things move. He shot that, and what you're looking at right now is in very close proximity. Belleville borders the city of Newark, and Newark, as we...
Hey, by the way, real quick, and I hate to like just interject with this. Chat, we are 500 people away on King Akademiks, 500. From 900K subscribers. Please, if you're watching, just go youtube.com/King Akademiks. We need 500 people to sub up, and we hit 900K. Okay? Once we hit 900K, we're going to be counting down to the milli, which is going to be obviously 100K next, but cool.
You probably all know Newark International Airport is right there, right in the middle of air traffic control. So that's really running up and down Route 21 here in Belleville, which is a direct conduit right to Newark International Airport. That's why it's gravely concerning to see so many drones in the air night after night. That video was shot on December 8th, but the last 2 days has been a hotbed. We have been swarmed with drones over the last 2 evenings.
So a statement put out by federal investigators says they haven't corroborated any of the sightings with electronic detection. And they actually believe that many of the reported sightings are manned aircraft that are operating lawfully. Do you think that some of these reports have simply misidentified?
And also, if they're saying it's manned aircrafts operating lawfully, if it's a manned aircraft, there has to be a log of that person taking the aircraft into the air. Like when you get on a plane, there's a manifest, you register a flight path, or you register the fact that you're leaving from a certain place with the FAA. If they know it's a manned aircraft, they know exactly what this shit is. This is not.
Let's talk about these drones. That black blob in the night sky is a drone, a good-sized one, though it's hard to tell without other objects close in the frame to compare it to. It's one of dozens that have been spotted recently in the skies over New Jersey and New York, in the New York area, including a military research facility at the around the Trump.
Okay, is this one of them without the lights? Wow.
Property in Bedminster as well. Today, the White House sought to downplay rumors.
We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus.
Security officials held a private briefing today for members of Congress, some of whom are demanding more in the way of answers.
I've been a little frustrated. There hasn't been enough transparency, letting people know what's happening. It's allowing a lot of potentially misinformation to spread, or at least fear. We should know what's going on over our skies, and I've asked for a lot more information.
They should be shot down if necessary.
because they're flying over sensitive areas, whether it's planes that may be jeopardized or security at military bases. We ought to do a much better job. The Biden administration ought to be acting more aggressively against these drones.
Well, Senator Booker, who you heard there a moment ago, along with his New Jersey and New York Senate colleagues, sent a letter today to the heads of DHS, FBI, and FAA requesting a briefing on the matter. More on this all now from CNN's Omar Jimenez.
So people have been seeing drones. Don't worry, this is one of ours. But we've been going around talking to people in this northern New Jersey area, and really almost everyone you talk to has either seen one or knows someone who's seen one.
What are they? Who's sending them up there? What are they doing there? Why doesn't anybody know what they are? You know, and why New Jersey? It didn't sound like an airplane, which is why I went out and looked at it.
It was loud, but not any louder than the airplanes, because the airplanes are loud.
Yeah, the jets were loud.
And there were jets flying over at the same time. They actually flew in a circle around our building, both of them, and then across, and then disappeared. It still could be somebody playing a trick, but which is unlikely because they are so big.
Yeah, it's not a 10-year-old flying it, you know.
Yeah. I'll just let the people that are trying to figure it out.
But to this point, no one has, at least publicly. The FBI is now investigating weeks of reported drone sightings over New Jersey. That's according to a document given to state and local officials. As a growing number of people report seeing drones, some described as 6 feet in diameter, flying in the skies. And there have been questions about when they first started popping up. Reports seem to vary, but the Picatinny Arsenal, which is a military installation in northern New Jersey, has confirmed sightings in the area going back to November 13th. And countrywide, this isn't the first time mysterious drones or something like it have been spotted around military installations.
So specifically, Langley Air Force Base did experience incursions of unauthorized unmanned aerial systems last year in December 2023. The number of those UAS incursions did fluctuate on any given day, but they didn't appear to exhibit any hostile intent.
And while with the New Jersey reported sightings, the White House says many have actually been manned aircraft, some witnesses disagree.
They'll just change direction, like go from like 90 to like 270 degrees, just like fly different directions, and planes obviously can't do that. Nothing during the day, just completely at night. It's odd.
And public officials are starting to get frustrated.
They're creating so much fear and uneasiness in the public.
There's no excuse for us not to know at this point. Now is not the time to mess around. It is a time for action. We're past the point of let's pretend it's not a big deal and try to keep everybody calm while we figure it out. It's really concerning. And quite frankly, it's not acceptable.
Now, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are throwing a little bit of cold water on this. They said in a joint statement that based on what they've seen so far, they don't see any national security threat or anything like that, but also that they are investigating whether these reported drone sightings are actually drones or whether they're being mistakenly identified for manned aircraft. And they did say many of the cases that they've investigated have actually turned out to be manned aircraft. That said, they are continuing to investigate, and without a
Yeah, they're spying on us, man. You know, this is going to be a good conversation for the people. Ooh, what the fuck is a bottle? It's going to be a good conversation for the people who care about this whole Big Brother concept. I mean, eventually, if you want me to go down that path of being a little bit cynical with y'all, I'm the person who's sitting up here and telling you that you can't do a crime in America these days. You can't do a crime in America because if you do it in public or you move around on public streets or anything to do with public, it's going to be recorded. Everything is videoed, audioed. And again, here's some of the interesting thing about some of this drone shit is that, you know, what would stop a Big Brother situation, and now I'm thinking legally, it would be the Fourth Amendment, like the right that prevents unlawful searches and seizures, right? But theoretically, the government could have a camera anywhere that they could see shit in plain sight. Now, it obviously gets a little bit different because if someone's flying something over your backyard, and your backyard has a fence. Technically, that's not supposed to happen, especially if they're gathering intel or they're gathering data, especially if it's the cops. They would need a warrant for that. That becomes a little bit different, but I do believe eventually we're going to get to, and we're seeing it, it's like everything is monitored. I do think eventually the government's going to have just floating drones over the United States. I think you'd be dumb to not think that would ever happen. Now, are we there yet with what's happening? I don't know. But I do believe that whatever is happening, I personally believe we're testing it not to use here, is to use overseas. Do you get what I'm saying? I think it's a information gathering type of tool in response to that bullshit that China did when China sent a hot air balloon. We ain't with the hot air balloon, nigga. We gonna send the shit. We gonna send the shit that we got the PS4 controllers sending over there. I think that's what it is. But I don't think it's to gather information on U.S. soil. That's why I think they're testing it in New Jersey. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're testing it seemingly on the East Coast, but I think that's to gather intel internationally, and I think we're probably going to deploy those type of things in international countries, maybe from military bases or military facilities that we have over there. But I don't think that's yet. Eventually will be. Eventually it will be commonplace that we know that, say somebody get killed on some random place, a satellite has the full recording of it, even if there's not a camera there, or there's some floating drones that's just above that if they detect that someone got hit, right? Say there's a car accident and no one witnessed it. Somebody drove into a wall at 3 a.m. It immediately calls the police and the police just show up rather than someone having to drive by and say, oh, that car is on fire. It ran into a wall. Let me make the call. I do think that's where we're headed. I don't know if we're there yet, right? But definitely it's the government. 100% it's the government.